Hi, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Behind the Post. Our guest today is a full stack marketer with 15 years of experience in marketing. This includes traditional PR marketing, marketing campaigns and strategy, social media, organic and paid, website, reporting and analytics, demand gen, and more. Her extensive background spans industries such as fashion and legal technology, including both B2C and B2B marketing. When she's not scrolling on LinkedIn, she's doing arts and crafts with her toddler, enjoying a delicious meal with her husband, and perusing Pinterest for home decor ideas. So without further ado, please welcome Alicia Weisman to the show. Alicia, are you ready to go behind the post with me?
I am.
Amazing. So I'm so excited to get into B2B personal branding. So I first want to ask you in a quick answer, where did your passion for it start?
I would say my passion for it started in my last job. I was hired as the first social media marketer dedicated to posting on LinkedIn. Fortunately, my boss at the time saw that there was a need for that. Prior to that, everything was done very reactive. There wasn't a strategy for it. So I was brought in to handle the company's LinkedIn account. And I quickly learned that it's the personal pages that are getting the engagement. And so I started reaching out to our internal subject matter experts and our leadership and trying to get them comfortable with posting, kind of leaning into that employee advocacy. And some people were excited, some people were hesitant. And that is really where I decided I need to walk the walk. People are telling me they're afraid to post. And yes, it is scary. I mean, I am 6 months into my journey and I still get nervous posting and, all the things. So I decided I need to walk the walk. I need to start doing it in 3, 6 months. I will show the ROI. And that's where my passion started with it. And I'm having fun on LinkedIn.
That's
It's a real
amazing.
community.
Yeah, it's definitely a really fun community. And as you said, personal branding holds so much value in B2B marketing. And you said that many people are really hesitant to take it on, right? And starting to build their personal brand is scary because people don't know where to begin. So, can you share some practical first steps that you used when you started building your personal brand that someone else can take that person is looking to dive into this world of personal branding?
When employees would come to me and say, okay, I know I need to be online. I see it's working there. I follow people. How do I get started? I would tell them to pick a handful of thought leaders or subject matter experts in our industry to follow and just show up online, log into LinkedIn. I tell people while you're drinking your coffee for 15, 20 minutes in the morning, scroll LinkedIn and start engaging with those thought leaders and those subject matter experts. And at first, I tell people it's okay to just give a like or a high five or, some kind of interaction. However, they need to start commenting on those personal pages as well. And people will see that they start to get more comfortable with that and it becomes more natural and not so scary. So after, I don't know, I would say a month or so of doing that and showing up every day, I tell people to think about what 3 things they want to be known for. And one thing is, what are you a silent expert in? Because there are so many people inside your company that know a product or a service inside and out. They've been in the industry for a while, they have the work history, they have the experience, and they forget that they know so much and that this is just natural to them, but completely new when they talk to a client or they're onboarding people in the company. So that's one area I tell them to pick. And then the other two, I say, it could be something a little more personal if you want, something you're interested in.
Yeah.
Um, And I always want them to diversify a little bit so that they're just not pigeonholing themselves and they can have a little fun with it. Because at the end of the day, it should be fun. It should not be too stressful. Um, and then I tell them to develop some kind of posting cadence. I tell them once a week is fine, but stick to it. Kind of hold yourself accountable. And lastly, if you post something and you think it doesn't do well, do not take it down. I always
Yes.
tell people, do not worry about that. I don't know, that does not matter. Sometimes you think people are not looking or paying attention, and they
Yeah.
are.
A lot of the time, I think people look to see how many likes they've got or how many comments they've got. But there's a lot of silent people that aren't liking, but they're resonating with what you're doing. And they might
Yep.
message you privately, or they might speak to you in conversation saying, hey, what you posted really resonated with me. So I just wanted to point out what you just said because it's so important. Just because you're not seeing 100 likes on a post doesn't mean it doesn't have the value there. And all these steps that you're saying is what can build you. The end goal is being a thought leader, right? That's what personal branding is all about. So
Right.
those are ways that you can get there. But I then want to ask, how would you advise someone or you yourself? How do you differentiate yourself from other people? There are so many aspiring social media influencers. So how can someone find a way to stand out?
I would say share personal experiences and share your unique point of view. I mean, having a strong point of view on something, I think again, people are a little afraid. They never want to ruffle feathers. A past coworker told me, I'm just waiting for the day when somebody disagrees with me or, wants to say I'm wrong. And I said, no, if that's how you believe, then I think that is great because that opens your
Yeah.
comments up. It's a healthy discussion. I think that's where the real community is in the comments. Ideally, you want to say something that prompts somebody to say, I didn't think of it that way. Or actually, I think this. Like, I think the comments are king. They're the
Yeah.
best. So, um, yeah, having a unique point of view and
Okay.
putting some personality in there and sharing personal experiences.
Yeah, definitely. I completely agree with you. And I think it's the way that you can stand out because that is your personality at the end of the day and it's unique to you. Um,
Yeah.
and it's
And
interesting.
I have an interesting, sorry, a little thing about that, kind of going back to, you know, not worrying about who's engaging with you, how many likes you have. I recently had an interview with a CEO and she referenced one of my posts and it was for a B2B marketing role. And my post was about looking outside of the B2B marketing industry for inspiration. And I kind of tagged a few brands and things I liked that they were doing. And she brought that up. She was like, sometimes we're in a vacuum, and especially in the legal tech industry, everything can start to be the same. And I just kind of smiled because obviously she didn't engage with the post, but kind of going back to building yourself up as a thought leader.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's a really interesting anecdote to share because it really proves that your post can resonate with people, even if they're not interacting with it. But something I do want to ask you is we know in the life of a social media manager, you can spend hours crafting the perfect post, down to a T, down to the grammar, down to a full stop or a period, whatever you like to call it, down to an emoji, but it might not perform well. In fact, it doesn't perform well. But then one
Yep.
day you're at complete loss of what to write. So let's say you craft something really quickly and then results blow you out the water. So I'm interested to know if that's happened to you before and how do you make sense of it?
Oh, definitely. I can speak for both sides. Again, when I was handling a company LinkedIn page, there's rounds of approvals, there's a lot of drafting,
Yeah.
editing. We can think we produced a great piece of content that is going to deliver a lot of value and is timely, all of the things. And going back to obsessing about every little thing, when it was my job to manage the pages, I was very, very aware of what times performed well, what days
Yes.
performed well, keywords to use, length, tone. And when I did do a post that, performed very well, I would always look for ways to replicate that. Not too
Mhm.
much. I don't want everything to be same, but to your point, oh yes, I could obsess about all the little details. And it just doesn't do well.
Yeah.
It's completely out of your control sometimes. Um, and to your point, yes, there are times where we need to quickly get something up. We're maybe appeasing the C-suite because we need to post something and there's not rounds of approvals. It's just in the moment and it does very well. So I've seen that on the brand side, and I've also seen it on my personal account. I try to have some notes written down of what I want to post or my narrative. And then, Valentine's Day rolls around the day before Valentine's Day. I am making Valentine's Day cards for my toddler's classroom. And I don't know, I just snap a picture because I used Canva to make them. I thought they were cute and cheeky little straws would have an extra special day. Posted that to LinkedIn and I got over 8,000 impressions. And
Wow.
for me, that's a lot because I think I have 1,100 followers, but at that time I didn't have as many. So 8,000 impressions. And that is one that was not planned, just in the moment. And when I think about why did it work? I mean, hindsight's 2020. There's a few things. It was timely. It was right before Valentine's Day. So it was Valentine's Day, it's holidays. I tagged Canva in my post and they engaged with my post. I believe Canva is also trying to break into the B2B marketing community more. So I think they're on LinkedIn. They're a little more engaged and active. And it was personal. I don't know if I had shared before that I was a working mom. And so people kind of got a little glimpse into that and it made it very relatable because
Yeah.
I think they said like shout out to social media marketing moms who are doing this. And
Yeah.
so moms, social media, they could all relate to it.
Yeah, I think it's really interesting to hear like how you feel and the reasons why it performs so much better. And I think definitely everything you've said are big factors. You're tagging in a big brand that's interacting with you. You're showing off something personal to you and your personal life. And I also think there's some sort of sense of when something's so planned and it goes up, it doesn't not feel authentic. I don't want to say it's
Right.
not authentic, but there's an
Right.
authenticity of when you just craft something, you write it, you post it, and you upload it. And there's not so much of thought. It feels more natural and it goes up. And then people
Yeah.
can feel that and people can see that because it's not been overpanned. You haven't thought about the emoji 10 times. You haven't thought about where the full stop should go, the exclamation mark, or anything like that. So I think that's also a
Exactly.
big factor. And I think in general, when it comes to creating posts that reflect your personal brand, it is so important to be authentic, right? But I think
It
there's
is.
also a bit of a fine line when it comes to authenticity, as oftentimes we know what's going to generate more engagement. So when you're building out your personal brand, I wanted to ask you, how do you stay authentic and present yourself to your network in the best light possible while ensuring your posts perform well to gain engagement and reach the right people and more people? Because that is what we want all the day, at the end of the day. Sorry. So where is that balance? How do you do that?
Really good question.
It's a big question. It's a big question.
Hence the big sigh because you hit the nail on the head. Yes, there is the fine line of being authentic, but yes, I am posting for fun and
Yeah.
but I also want to be seen as a thought leader. There's all these end goals of posting and, strategy behind doing it. So it kind of goes back to our last question, like trying to create the perfect post. Um, LinkedIn is the wild, wild west. It really is.
I think it's the best way to put it.
Yeah, we're recording this at the end of April, and I don't know. I feel like the past maybe 2 weeks, my personal my personal account isn't getting as much engagement as it was, a month ago. And so I actually went into, I'm part of the Exit 5 community. I went in there and I asked people, and people are saying, yeah, I'm seeing it too. And coincidentally enough, I tried to upload a video, and LinkedIn right now is testing out video as a separate stream. I don't know if you have seen this. A thought leader I follow showed his homepage, and on the homepage of LinkedIn, I think on the bottom it's home, post, jobs, there's five little icons, and he had one for video. So
Wow.
there's a stream of just
Yeah.
video, which, is definitely dipping into the TikTok.
Yes.
I mean, right now, video is huge. If you're not doing it, you need to do it. Another means for content. So I think LinkedIn is playing out with that in beta. So, LinkedIn is the wild, wild west. You cannot
Yeah.
predict what is going to happen, what they're testing in the background. So I try not to predict what will do well. And with that, I just stick to what I know. And I think that's how I stay true to my brand. I post about things that if I were in an office with colleagues, these are the things I'd be talking about, Super
Yeah.
Bowl commercials in the States, what brands are doing really great marketing right now. I keep it professional because I still consider LinkedIn an extension of my resume and work experience.
Yeah.
I think I'm kind of letting everybody know I'm a bit of a marketing nerd right now because those are the things I talk about. But I post in my voice. I try to use emojis to show a little personality. I use my unique point of view. And if I'm feeling it, sometimes I try to be a little funny, although I'm not naturally funny, so I don't try to do that too much.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just try to stay in my unique voice and share my
Yeah.
personal experiences.
I think at the end of the day, that's what's going to make you a thought leader, and keeping that authenticity to yourself. And like you said, social media ebbs and flows. It's not
Mhm.
always going to bring you like high engagement. Sometimes it'll bring low engagement. It really does. It ebbs and flows. And like, you shouldn't let that make stall you and hold you back when building your personal brand. It was something you
Right.
mentioned briefly that I wanted to highlight. But I'm wondering, I have a question for you. Since building your personal brand, have you noticed your connections change? Have you established meaningful relationships? And if so, how?
Yes, yes. I mean, first off, this opportunity came through LinkedIn, so I'm so
Exactly.
excited
I'm glad
we
you mentioned that
connected.
one.
Yeah, I'm so excited we connected on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
I've really built a network of B2B marketers on LinkedIn, and I love it. I'm constantly learning from the people I follow. I've
Yes.
somewhat curated my feed. So every time I open the app or I'm on my desktop, I learn something new every single day. And I think that's a unique thing for LinkedIn right now. Years ago, the platform was seen a bit differently. People only hopped on when they were looking for a job
Yeah.
or to say they got a new job or to update their resume.
Yeah.
Um, Now people are kind of building in public, and I love it. I
Yeah.
mean, I am following a few people who are first time VPs of marketing, and they're sharing their 30-day, 60-day, 90-day plan, things they're learning, things they thought they could achieve, but they couldn't. And, maybe take less calls in the beginning. You're excited, you want to get to know everybody, but then you can't do the work.
Yeah.
And so I'm saving those posts, I'm storing little nuggets. So I've made connections with some of those people. We, DM each other, words
Yeah.
of encouragement, give each other advice. There's a handful of them that I definitely feel comfortable reaching out to with any marketing questions now. And so it's a really unique experience, and I'm learning a lot from it.
Yeah, I think there's so much to learn from other people. And I can tell I'm similar to you. I love learning from people. And personal branding is such an amazing way to do that. Even if you're not doing the personal branding yourself, you can follow other people that are. And there's so many people
Mhm.
in the industry. And like you said, me and you connected for this episode. And I'm so glad we did. And it was through your personal branding journey on LinkedIn. And it can
Yeah.
bring so many opportunities and open doors. Um, and I'm wondering, you were mentioning that there was a few people that you were connected to. What are maybe the top one, two, three in the industry? Who are these people that you follow? Who's doing personal branding well?
Oh, I've got a handful of people that I'm
Okay.
very excited.
Yeah.
Um, so I think, I think you asked like who's doing personal branding well. I think they're more in the thought leadership space, but
Yeah.
through our conversation, I feel like they're that line is getting a little murky. But I'm a big fan of Dave Gerhardt. He's the CEO and founder of Exit 5, the B2B marketing
Yeah.
community I mentioned earlier. And he has the company page, he has his personal page, and he's just a wealth of information and he's sharing it all. There's no gatekeeping. So I feel like like I said, I learn something every time I log in, and the discussions, the comments on his post. I've found other people and started following them, but a few other ones that I'm fans of are Nehal Tanani. She does content marketing at Clary. And I first discovered her and Chelsea Castle when I attended a webinar where they were speaking. And I was blown away with them. I mean, I think in B2B marketing, there are a lot of strong male voices, and it was really fun to hear from females and have some more females to look up to. I was impressed with what they were doing at their jobs, and they're really walking the walk. They're not giving advice about stuff they haven't done. They were giving real world experience and what they've done, what's worked, not worked, how they pivoted. So I just think they're both really great follows. And Christina Lee, she's another social media manager I like to follow.
I
And
follow her too.
yeah, I think she's
Yeah.
actually been on this podcast.
Yeah.
Um, she she's fun. I wish I could have more wits and be a little quicker like her. But I really like seeing her also build in public. And I
Yeah.
think I told her, you need a master class. And she was like, I'm not there yet. I'm having fun. But that's the
That's the whole
whole
point.
thing, right? Everybody's just putting this out there, getting feedback, sharing what's working. So those are some people I enjoy following.
Amazing. So if anyone's looking for tips or other people to follow online, you've got a list there. Um,
Yeah.
I'm wondering what kind of opportunities have come your way since building a personal brand?
Yeah. So, consulting gigs, again, I didn't really set out to do that because I was working full time somewhere. But since then, paid job opportunities have come in, which,
Amazing.
that ROI, talking about getting paid clients. I've had recruiters reach out for full-time positions and have landed myself in a few final interviews.
Mm.
Again, kind of, that CEO who mentioned my LinkedIn, that was a real aha moment again, because I don't know, sometimes you can feel, does this matter? Are people listening, watching? Even if you get some engagement in comments, but that was a real success moment for me. And this podcast. I
Yeah.
mean, I am so grateful to be here today. And I didn't tell you before, but this was one of my goals when I started my personal brand, because I think I forgot to mention that when people come and they want to get started, I ask them why. why do you want to do it? And I have them set up, some personal goals. They don't have to put them
Yeah.
out there, but at least for me, it's always nice to have it up there, visualize it, and have something you're moving towards.
Yeah,
So,
that's incredible. I'm so glad we could help make this happen. And I'm more glad that we have you on here because you're sharing your journey so authentically and so candidly. And I think so many people want to know how to do this, but they don't know
oh,
where
thank
to look or
you.
who to go to. So I'm so happy we have you here to share your expertise with us. So as much as it's a win for you, it's a win for us and everyone listening to Behind the Post. Um,
Oh, thanks.
so I guess moving on from goals is a good way to segue into measuring success. So how do you measure the success of your personal branding campaign? How do you know what's working?
Yeah. I can't remember where I read this or where I saw it. But somebody said, and this kind of goes back to, sometimes you think you need to be everywhere, like LinkedIn,
Yeah.
Instagram, TikTok, all the platforms. And I actually say, no, pick one or two and do them really, really well. And it might have been around the Super Bowl time. Somebody said, when your content is so good, it will hit those other places. And, Super Bowl commercials are made for TV, but people were talking about them on LinkedIn and sharing videos on LinkedIn. So I think success is when something goes from online to offline.
Yeah.
And again, it goes back to people telling me either, I don't know, in phone calls or DMs, I love what you're posting. You're sharing great information, actionable tips. I'm learning so much. And none of those people have ever engaged with my posts. They've never given me a thumbs up. They've
Yeah.
never commented. But I don't know. I take that as a win because again, people are learning, they're getting some value out of it, and that's the whole reason. So
Yeah.
that's how I measure success. It's not the impressions or engagement. It's the stuff that's happening offline, like
Yeah.
this.
I love this answer so much because I really think that's the true value of it and that's the importance. And your whole answer, it brings us back to, I know we're talking about personal branding and a personal journey for somebody, but
Mhm.
this is brings us back to the true value that personal branding has in B2B marketing. And it's establishing that trust that you've now established offline with people. That trust between people is so important. And it's something that B2B companies can leverage. And there's so many benefits for a marketing team at a company when their team is establishing themselves as thought leaders online. So how can someone inspire their organization to build up their personal brands within their company?
Yeah, I think this is the perfect segue to that because, yeah, having the success offline. Because when I was managing company LinkedIn accounts, yes, impressions increasing is great, engagement increasing, followers, that is all great. But I started to kind of look at that a little bit like vanity metrics. And again, yes, those things matter because you're doing something right and you're growing the community.
Yeah.
However, I want to know, like, how is that post influencing somebody? How who's seeing it? Who's acting on it? And so, oof, I feel like there's so many benefits. I mean, it's personal branding is good for the employee, and I say it's great for the company. It's a win-win all around. And I have a few examples of how it's good for the employee and how it's good for the company. For the employee, it's good because you get to have a voice. You get to take control of your career. You get to grow your career, establish yourself as a thought leader or a subject matter expert in the industry. Right now, I feel like with everybody using ChatGPT, it's so important to have a unique point of view. You
Yeah.
need to share from personal experiences. And stuff's getting filtered out because, the algorithms can what's chat GPT. So now more than ever, people need that human connection. And it goes back to, I don't know, people working from home. They want to follow people, people engage with people, and they feel a sense of connection with them. I think even when you and I first, quote unquote, met, we kind of felt like we knew each other because we're following each other, engaging with each other. And so we're personalizing the brands, we're personalizing Octopost. And that leads to one-to-one connections and relationships with potential clients. And that's a natural segue into social selling. And you get a quick feedback loop. If you're talking about Gen AI and people are reacting to it, you could go back to the marketing team and say, everybody's talking about this right now. We need more content about this, or these are the questions people are asking me. So it's a very quick feedback loop. And I really, really love that about social.
Yeah.
And then LinkedIn is just a robust online community for B2B marketers. I think it is great for other professions, but I can only speak for B2B marketing. And you can learn so much from people. And so why wouldn't employers want their employees to constantly be learning? People are literally giving away their secrets and their playbooks and their, steps to achieving this, that, or the other thing. So it helps the employees stay up to date and, kind of have a foot on the ground. And some benefits for the company is you're giving your employees a sense of belonging to the company, to the community. You're building positive employee engagement, which when your employees are happy and they're talking about you online, that's a great recruitment tool. Recruiting is hard in general. So if you have your employees talking positively about your company, and now people are coming to you because they want to work with you, that's amazing. Let the employees talk about the exciting projects they're working on to get other people excited. And it's no secret, personal pages just perform better than company pages. And so marketing teams spend a lot of time creating content, whether it's written, blog posts, white papers, videos, webinars. So the company page can put it out there. It will get engagement. However, how amazing would it be to empower your employees to share it and to give it more legs and eyeballs? So again, tapping into the employees and people outside of the company, maybe your partners or vendors or target audience or your clients are going to start saying, wow, I'm seeing you guys everywhere. And then it's kind of that magnet. People want to work with you more because it's just like, oh, wow, what are they doing over there? Everybody's talking about them.
Yeah.
And I told you I had a lot. And it gives the employees a chance to talk about the company's product or services without talking about it. They can stay top of mind as an advocate for the company and not always feel like they're selling something.
Yeah.
And then I would say the last thing is the buyer journey isn't linear. It isn't like the customer does A, B, C, and then da, 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 da. People are discovering you all over the place on a podcast, on a webinar, partner marketing. So I would tell the company, encourage your internal subject matter experts to be in all those places, to be posting on LinkedIn, to hop on podcast, webinars. All of these things are just going to raise their profiles. And, I think it's a highly coveted thing that when there are industry trade show panels, companies want to have a speaking spot there. They want to
Yeah.
be invited. So it's just kind of this little flywheel of, getting your employees excited, getting
Yeah.
them talking, and having those opportunities come to you.
Yeah, definitely. I think you rounded up the benefits so well and the reasons why a marketing team at a B2B company would benefit from it. And I think to inspire your organization to start doing it, I would say to also pick maybe the top, depending on how big your company is, top 5 to top 20 people that want to build a brand online. They want to build their personal brand. They want to be a brand advocate. Um,
Mhm.
and they want to help as an employee represent your brand online. And by taking a small group of people first and start training them and providing them with content and helping them at the beginning, I think that can also really help a company start building up their employees' personal brands and help them do it. And I think the trick is having people that are interested in doing it at first, because then
Yes,
afterwards, other people will see the success and they'll want to buy in and they'll want to do it too. Um,
yes.
so I
You
just want to move
nailed
on
it.
to,
That's the key to building it. Get the people who already know how to use LinkedIn, are comfortable
yeah.
with it, and who want to do it.
Exactly. So I want to move on to the last question before we wrap up and ask you, what's the best piece of social media advice you've ever been given?
Yeah, the best piece of advice, it's a bit basic, but it's true, is just get started.
I
You
love
know,
that. The
I
simpler, the better
think
the advice.
I think I can speak for most social
Yeah.
media managers because we're so used to overthinking stuff if it's going to perform well, if we're using the right medium, if we're uploading the document or the JPEG or whatever it is. We worry about setting everything up correctly, calendars, plans,
Yeah.
and you just have to get started.
Just
You just
jump
have to
in.
start posting and then experiment and adjust and learn.
Yeah, exactly. I really think instead of being like, oh, I'll post next week, I'll post tomorrow, just do it. Just start. Because once you start and you get the momentum going, and the momentum is what's so important. And once you get
Mhm.
that going, you're going to be so much more far in than you thought you would be if you just start. So I want to thank you so much for joining me. I'm so glad we got you on this podcast and that it was one of your
Thank
personal branding
you.
goals. Thank you for
Thank
sharing
you.
about your journey so candidly. It was genuinely like such a good conversation for me. It's going to be such a good listen for our listeners at home. So thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you, Alina.